guys, this is Heather with the Book Junkie. Today I'm going to be reviewing and ranting and just talking about Verity by Colleen Hoover. I absolutely loved this book. It was amazing, 5 out of 5. If you have read this book, continue to watch this video. If you have not read this book yet, please see my other book review. This one is going to contain spoilers. I want you to read this, and I don't want to give anything away, so please watch my other video first, and then after you've read this book, please watch this video, because I have so much to talk about this book. Basically, this book, I know you've read it, little recap, Lowen meets Jeremy at the very gruesome scene in the beginning of the book. Literally the first few sentences was extremely gruesome. I read it and I was like, what is going on? I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I read that first sentence. And it was very horrific. So Lowen meets Jeremy. Jeremy has a wife named Verity. Jeremy has two daughters that unexpectedly passed away, and now he just has his son. And then Verity was in an accident, and then she can't write her books anymore after the accident. And so Lowen goes to Jeremy's house and starts looking at all the notes and finds the autobiography. And it was very intimate details and very disturbing as well. To talk about the autobiography, I believed it. Verity needs to write these very gruesome novels. She also writes it from the enemy's point of view, which is very different from any other novel that has been written. So the autobiography, it had a lot of intimate details, and Lowen was very intrigued because she wanted to know more about Jeffrey. And like, who wouldn't? I mean, he's very mysterious, seems very handsome, so why wouldn't you want to read more? But it was like getting another view into their life, and kind of felt like she shouldn't be reading it. I don't know what I would do if I was reading that. I feel like I would just want to keep reading it, especially when it got to the details about the daughters and how one of her daughters died, and then she was very upset about that, and then Verity seemed to have purposely killed her other daughter. And Verity is also almost like a sex addict with Jeremy. That's all she wants. She never wanted the kids. She tried to abort the kids. Like, who does that? Like, and then got a scar. So that was one of my first questions, was at the end of the book, she writes this letter and says that it was all fake. It was just trying to be practice for her novel so she can get better at it, which seemed believable. In one of the scenes in her autobiography, she had the hanger, like a wire hanger, I think, and tried to abort her children, and that's why one of her children has like a scar on her head or something like that. And if the autobiography wasn't real, I would like to know how the child got the scar, if it was that fibrous tissue that Jeremy said that it was. It's like, I don't know if that's true, if it's not true, the autobiography, I still don't know. That was one of my biggest questions, was Verity actually telling the truth in her later letter? Or was she just trying to cover it up because she's extremely manipulative and crazy? I don't know. We don't know who Verity actually is, because all we know of her is from this autobiography that they found, because she's not really an active character in this book. So the only thing we know about her is what she has written, which may or may not be the truth. So I don't know if I believe the autobiography or if I believe the note for Verity. Verity seemed to be scared of Jeffrey because in the note, Jeffrey, quote unquote, tried to kill her multiple times. Again, we don't know if that's true, which is just, I don't know. Also, through the book, I got hints, inklings, clues that Lowen started to seem to become like Verity from the autobiography Verity, and that in the bedroom where they have the teeth marks on the bed frame, that when Lowen put the pillow between her hips and mimicked the teeth marks on there, And then Lowen was basically acting like a bitch to Verity when Verity was in the living room, and starts to just yell at her and is like, I know you're up to something. Like, Jeffrey is mine. Like, you can't ruin this. And then I think it was the same scene or very shortly after, Lowen throws a book near Verity. I think it was a book. Throw something near Verity to see if Verity would have a reflex. And she didn't. Which is another thing, is if she did have that syndrome that Jeffrey said, I think it was like she has the mental capacity of like almost like a newborn, so she can't move anything. Newborns still have the startle reflex. So if she did have that, she would still have a reflex. So that was almost my first clue. Well, not my first clue. It was one of another clue that Verity was almost faking it, because everyone has a startle reflex. Even newborns. You're born with that reflex. And I don't know if her accident could have potentially damaged that portion of the brain where she doesn't have that reflex. For her not to have that reflex shows that she is trying to fake it. And to hold back that reflex is extremely hard. I don't know about you guys, but I get scared really easily. So that would be very difficult to me, to act completely still if something was just thrown out of nowhere right near me. Those are my first clues that, like, Lowen was starting to become almost like the Verity quote-unquote psychopath that she was in the autobiography. And then when Lowen was reading the note that she found, she wanted to hide it. She did not want Jeremy to know about this note, if he did know about it. I don't think he did, though. And Lowen still wanted Jeremy for herself. I don't know about y'all, but if I read that note knowing that Jeremy already knew about the autobiography, or maybe even the things in the note could have been real, I would not want to stay with Jeremy. I would be scared of him, because I don't know what he would do to me if I happened to step out of line and he tried to kill me, or he just lost it. I don't think I would want to stay with Jeremy after that. And Lowen did. Lowen just wanted to bury that note and move on with her very perfect life. I don't know how I feel about every single character in this book, because they all have two different sides to them. Lowen, she seemed like the normal human being, but then she kind of got obsessive over Jeremy, especially when Verity was around and Verity was trying to scare her, Lowen, by getting up, and she sees the curtains moving and seeing her at the top of the steps. But then Verity wrote the note saying that Jeremy was trying to kill Verity, and then Jeremy, he seems like the perfect guy, kind of just like, I'm taking care of my disabled wife, but then he might have potentially killed her. I don't know, guys. This is why I love this book, because I have so many questions, and I bet you guys do too. So if you guys have any other questions, please put them in the comments. Another thing that I did was I looked up what Verity meant, and it actually means truth in Latin. I didn't know that, and now I'm like, okay, well, what part of Verity is the truth? Is it the autobiography, or is it the note? I honestly, at the end of the day, I think I believed the note Verity, because her alibi kind of makes sense. I don't know. I keep going back and forth. I think I believe the note Verity, and that Jeremy is a bad guy, and that Lowen kind of turned out to be crazy. But hey, maybe that means they're meant for each other, and Verity was just trying to get out. But then, would Verity really stop her whole entire author career and stop writing, stop finishing her novel, and let someone else finish it for her? Would she do that? Would she be that kind of person to just kind of save herself over her passion? I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts about all of this stuff. I would love to hear your potential answers to the questions that I have. I would love to hear your questions that you have, so please leave them in the comments below. Also, please leave in the comments below recommendations that you would want me to read. I love recommendations, and I'll even give you a shout out if you want, but if I hate the book, I'm going to say I hate the book. So, fair warning. But please hit that subscribe button if you do like my videos, and I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you.